Hello and welcome to Gorilla and the Geek, the podcast for sweaty nerds by sweaty nerds. My name is Kyle from Geeks Weekly, and I'm joined, as always, by John, the Ginger Gorilla. John, how you doing on the first football Sunday of 2020 since last Super Bowl?
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. It's a great day for sports. We were just actually talking about that. I watched the Formula One races this morning, and they were crazy. Kyle still looks at it like it's NASCAR. That's okay. But dude, it's just, sports wise, it's popping right now. It's popping. I can't wait to watch the Giants lose consistently.
Yeah, the Jets are already stinking it
Because
up, which is excellent.
that's you know what? Can't win them all. Or you can't win them ever. So I
yeah,
mean,
any.
you can't win one.
But in other worlds within our fandoms, things are on certain upswings, and in other worlds, not so much. And in the not so much category, I'd like to start us off with a negative, John. Something that I tend to stray away from discussing on the internet, even though it's kind of in line with the content that I make. I don't really like to discuss Star Wars on any of my platforms usually because Star Wars discussion tends to be on the more intense side, as you know. And there's a saying, nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. So when you praise a Star Wars movie, you're going to get a lot of hate. When you hate a Star Wars movie, you're going to get a lot of hate. And something that happened recently was the Disney Star Wars trilogy, episodes 7, 8, 9. Did we see every single one together in the theaters, John?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, Aside from the only one I've never seen is the Solo one. Yes.
Yeah, me either.
Yes. Sorry about that. Don't know why my phone is on. Unprofessional. So we have the trilogy that just recently came out, ended with the Rise of Skywalker in 2019, last December, I think.
Yeah.
We saw the first one. You and I were buzzing afterwards,
Yeah,
and Sean,
it was
all of our
great.
friends.
We were excited. We didn't think it was. Because yeah, it's just that nervousness of episode one.
Yeah.
Right,
Uh, So when we go in, it's fun. Star Wars feels like it's back. There's an energy. It's one of the few, I would say, event movies of last decade.
Yeah.
That kind of went away for a while. The big event movie where everyone went to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
It was back with that. Awesome. We hear, ooh, The Last Jedi. It's gonna be the dark take on Star Wars. We're going. The logo's red. Who knows who's gonna die? And we left kind of going like this. It wasn't bad.
I like this was the first time I left a movie that I was super excited for. Without that jaded, it was good. It was good. Almost like saying it as a question. I didn't even feel that. I was just like, I mean, was it good?
You know what it is, John? And I've thought about this for years. It's not a bad movie. But is it a good Star Wars movie?
No, it's
It
not the
depends on.
worst.
It's objective filmmaking perspective. It's done well, but I don't know if it's an effective Star Wars movie. So we're like, okay, and they undid some of the stuff that they were doing in the Force Awakens. I don't know why they did that. I don't feel good after leaving that movie. I feel kind of gross. Rogue One. Don't really like that personally. I didn't. Um, and then the Rise of Skywalker. Palpatine's coming back. What? The Skywalker is in the name. Okay, I guess we'll see where this goes. Oof. One of the worst Star Wars movies ever made, and it's all over the place in terms of what happens with Rey's character, who is the main character of the new trilogy. And I didn't talk about it on the internet. I don't believe at all. When I saw the movie, I was kind of like, whatever. Oh no, I might have put out a review for it actually. I think there is a review on my channel of this movie only. And I was kind of like, I don't know, it's okay.
He's super
Uh,
general about it, just not to get any smoke.
exactly. I was avoiding all the smoke. And then, John, this week, after putting that behind me, trying to not think about Star Wars in the year of 2020, where the world is ending, Daisy Ridley, who is the actress who portrayed Rey throughout the most recent Rey Palpatine, throughout the most
Rey
recent trilogy,
Skywalker.
Rey Skywalker, actually, yes.
How dare you? Oh,
In a conversation with Josh Gad, she put this quote out. At the beginning, there was toying with an Obi-Wan connection. This is in regards to her character, by the way. There were different versions. Then it really went to she was no one. And then it became episode 9, and JJ pitched me on the film and was like, oh yeah, Palpatine's granddaughter. And I was like, awesome. And 2 weeks later, he was like, oh, we're not sure. So he kept changing. Even while filming, I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be. Now, John, it's I know it's hard to find words about certain things, but would you like to give me your thoughts on hearing those quotes?
like you'd think, right? So, just going into storytelling, right? Thinking about just learning about writing in high school, a paper of any sorts. Let's take a persuasive type paper. You're always told to brainstorm beforehand, write notes about it, plan out what you want, and then execute. Right? You write that paper. In this sense, plan out the trilogy. Decide what you want. Have a beginning, have middles, have ends, and then do it. And this is something that we talked about a lot. There was 7 different middles, there was 7 different ends that were all projected during the filming of the 3 movies. Like I bet you they had an ending to the trilogy, a different ending to the trilogy while filming each movie. Like they had
I'm
something
sure.
in mind. And like obviously it's not going to go well. Like now that we know all this stuff, it was like, okay, this movie's probably good for what it had to go through. It's actually probably better than what it should have been for the stuff that happened and the rewrites and probably the Disneyfication of people saying, well, let's twist this, let's change that. Okay, writers, let's switch that. I'm assuming, but then also having just different people work on it. It's just so frustrating. Oh, God, it just brings up so many emotions. Because it's like, you just wanted something good. And like, the fact that you're so ill prepared and not following one solid plan just means it's like, what was the purpose?
Now I'm going to read that last line again to the listeners in case they didn't catch it, because this is the most alarming portion of this. Even while filming, I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be. John, I I am known as like a big film guy. I'm known as a big DC guy. I'm known as a big Marvel guy. I like genre related content. Sci-fi is something that I'm into, but I'm not super duper into. But when it comes to Star Wars, one of the greatest and most enduring film franchises of all time, to buy the property for $4 billion, I believe. Was it 2 or 4? Anyways, billions. And then to in a let me put an emphasis on this, $1 billion film franchise, to not put all the care and time and energy into in the world into planning out the main character's lineage, which is so important. If you're gonna have her be a Kenobi, that's massive. If you're gonna have her be a Palpatine, that's even bigger, arguably.
It literally, if you took any last name and put it on her, it would have been crazy.
Now,
Let's
if
think
she's
about it.
no one, that's one thing.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying a Skywalker, a Kenobi, a Palpatine, like
Like, what are
any
we
of
doing?
those. Yeah, it would have been like you need to say why, and then it needs to be a good reason. It needs to be a good story why. Like it can't just be. I don't know.
Now look. I understand that the Luke reveal happened in episode 2, so you don't have or episode 5 technically, but in the second film of the Star Wars ever movie franchise. So you don't have to say what she is right away, but at least know what she's gonna be. You know you're making a trilogy. You're gonna reveal it. What was it, like a quarter of the, maybe midway through the final movie in the franchise? Who cares at that point? We're in too deep. You literally just told me she was no one, and then this happens, and it's so frustrating because it's we now have 2 sets of bad Star Wars trilogies.
Yeah, which
Mathematically,
means
what is that? 66%
yeah, most of the Star Wars movies
are bad.
are not good. Like
That's
the stories
that's
are
so
not
frustrating.
good. So that's the thing. Like when you said Star Wars being one of the most, I forgot what exact word you just used, but like solid franchise, it's not. It's one of the worst. Fast and Furious, we could argue, is better than this at this point.
Don't do that, come on, son. No, here's what you should say.
Does it let you down? Does Fast and Furious let you down? When was the last time you went to go see a Fast and Furious movie and you went, well, that wasn't what I expected. I'm super disappointed.
Maybe like 2008.
We watched The Rock hold on to a chain and a tow truck and hold a helicopter, and we were like, yeah!
We saw it opening night.
That's what he does, right? That's possible for humans.
Yeah.
And then you see Leia go out into outer space and somehow able to survive, and you're like, she can't do that! But now she can!
Yeah, I mean, you know what's sad? So one of the words I used when I was describing it just now was one of the most enduring franchises ever. Think about that. Since what year was that? Let's say 1980 something. Oh, 1 second. Well, I'm going to Google this real quick. When did
I got so worked up I had to turn my air conditioner on. Just I want everyone to know that. We're sweating.
Since 1983, John, I would argue there's been 3 Star Wars movies that have been bare minimum okay. Only one of those movies has been really good, in my opinion, and that's The Force Awakens.
It's just sad because like it could, like the potential is like limitless. And you know what the problem is, which I was thinking while you were saying this, is does it matter if it's bad? Does it matter at this point? No, because guess what? Episode 10, if that's what they're gonna call it, if that's what it's gonna be, right? I don't know.
Well, I think it's a disconnected trilogy next. I think that's the next
everyone's
thing.
gonna go see it. Hey, Kyle, are we gonna go see it?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, who knows? Because coronavirus.
Yeah, but bro, The Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. So it's like at this point, it doesn't really. And I tried to speak with my wallet. I didn't want to see a solo movie, so I didn't go see it. I didn't really care to see Rogue One, so I don't think we saw it opening weekend. I think we saw it the week after. But it doesn't matter. People are seeing these movies in droves, especially overseas, I'm sure. It's wild. I mean, there's so many rottens. If you look up the Star Wars saga on Rotten Tomatoes, I believe. Actually, I want to say The Rise of Skywalker might be the worst reviewed of all the Star Wars movies, which is wild. But it's just, and we don't mean to like crap on Star Wars because we do like it. Bro, let me put this out there.
I'm still angry that you haven't watched The Mandalorian. So like that's how much I like Star Wars. Like
I like
the shows, I like the movies.
Can I be honest with you? For a second? I think the reason I haven't watched The Mandalorian yet is because I have a really bad taste in my mouth from Star Wars.
Well, this could wash the taste out.
Yeah. I think I just gotta plunge in.
Mando's a great show.
Yeah, I just gotta plunge in. It's so weird to me though. Like why buy it from George Lucas then? Because George Lucas had an idea for an upcoming trilogy that he planned out, and I understand that the prequels weren't good necessarily, but at least there was a through line throughout all of
And
them.
it's called learning. All
Yeah,
right.
learn from your mistakes. He
He
he had nothing
tried
but
new
yes men.
things. He tried new stuff.
He did try new
He
things. He did.
learned.
He did. And to be honest, there's some genius stuff in there in the
Well,
prequels. I mean, the death sticks scene where Obi-Wan tells someone not to sell drugs anymore. You don't want to sell death sticks. You want to go home and think about your life. Like that stuff is good, but you you pay $4 billion for this franchise just and you know what's so sad? They all the executives can always chalk it up to fans always are gonna complain.
mm-hmm.
They're
And
always gonna complain, but
you
they're
know
still
what?
gonna bring in the money.
You know what the problem is? You go to Disney World, they have a whole new section with Star Wars stuff. Kids are gonna buy lightsabers. They're gonna buy the BB-8 Mickey Mouse ears. They're gonna buy the Rey costumes. They're gonna buy these things. They're gonna go to the events. They're gonna ride the rides. The rides are awesome. Disney World's awesome, right? And you're gonna eat, right? You're gonna take in everything they get. You're gonna spend that money, and they're like, "Well, it's working." We're still giving them that return on investment. So even if it's bad, they're like, "Who cares?" Guess what? All these new movies are gonna have more things they can sell, right? So it's gonna have more characters they can make into plush toys. Probably new types of lightsabers that they can make into toys.
They just made the yellow one for this movie, even though it was only in the last scene.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
Bro, who cares about spoiler alert and that one? It's just like that's the thing though. Like this money, it's gonna make up too much money that they're not gonna care. So we're not gonna get, and I don't think we're ever gonna get anything that replicates the original trilogy.
Wow,
I
you're
mean,
there.
what?
You're there with that, with thinking of it.
Do you think we're ever gonna get? We might get one movie.
I think we
might
were
get
close with The Force Awakens. I think it captured the magic again.
yes, but that's what I'm saying. You might get one movie. We're never gonna get a trilogy that's good. Do you think they're gonna put in the time and effort to give us
So
a
look,
trilogy that's good?
and here's the ultimate reason why I thought this was a valuable talking point for this week's pod. Kevin Feige is said to be working with Star Wars now. Kevin Feige, the man who mapped out the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest cinematic achievement ever in the Marvel
100%.
Cinematic Universe.
I mean, the fact that like that, I think that's unarguable that it is the greatest achievement of that type because of the fact that was 10-year span of stories with different creators and directors and yet it all came to this one final conclusion that everybody loved. All right, you know what? You restored my hope. If he's working on it, we're gonna get a good trilogy.
I think it's
sold.
possible.
See, and here we go again. There's people like you just reviving hope. Oh, give me that Star Wars. I'm a Star Wars junkie, Kyle. Because we want it to be good. That's all we want is just it to be good. And we want to have fun. We want to go to the theaters and be like, oh my God, I want to come out of the theater with you one day and be like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
I want to cry at a Star Wars movie like I cried at Endgame.
Oof. Yeah.
That's what I would like.
Yeah. You know what? But also, and I think we talked about this too, don't stick to the trilogy format.
Yeah, I agree.
Tell the story in however many movies you need to tell that story. 3 is not the perfect number.
Not anymore.
Right? Not when you had how many movies within the Marvel to get to Endgame. Right?
I think over 20. I might be wrong actually. Might not be over 20.
How about you just create stories that are good to be told and link them together if need be? Like, dude, I wouldn't mind if all of a sudden we just started getting more Jedi popping up in the world. And you have a movie that highlights each one. Maybe they come together. Maybe movies of them coming together. Almost like an Avengers-esque type of thing. Where you see them have their origin stories on their planets.
That'd be fun.
They're learning their powers in different ways. Maybe create new force powers. Dude, just take...
A little behind the scenes. With Sean about a year ago, we were considering doing a pitch for pitch video where we both pitched ideas for a new Star Wars trilogy, And one of my ideas was, well, why don't we could do like a mirroring, uh, like two mirroring movies of like one person discovering the powers and the other person discovering their powers, and then they meet in the third and they would have a clash. One would have a darker upbringing, one would have a much lighter upbringing and stuff like that. And you don't have to tie it to like the Republic, the Empire, any of this stuff. It can just be two people who are in touch with the Force and and are on a collision course
And
eventually.
like that's the thing, we saw that there was that kid with the broom,
Yeah,
right? So we know that they said there's people with the Force, like the Force touch out there. So like, just to make things with them. Like at the like we've talked about it for the last couple podcasts on this, like of how we want Marvel to do like new types of stories. Go with that too. Like think about it. Have different feels for these movies. Just like, and that's the thing. I think if they tried new things as in that way, and it didn't succeed, we'd be more lenient with it. Maybe.
Yeah, because at least you're trying.
Maybe because other solo movies were kind of just like, Rogue One, we were just like, meh.
Well, no, but Rogue One was not trying new things though, John. Rogue One is literally going back to the beginning.
That's true. You're right.
That was my issue with it, and that's my issue with Solo as well. Why are we going way, way back? We should be doing new.
That's true.
So, and plus, that like, there's a lot of issues with that movie. Number one, you already know how it's going to end. Like, we know that they get the Death Star plans. Duh. That's how the first ever Star Wars movie begins. Darth Vader walks into a room and says, bring me the plans. I want them alive. That's the first line. So, like, come on. What are we talking about here? But yeah, that's where we're at with that. I don't want to keep pooping on it. Let us know your thoughts on the
for sure
wild quotes by Daisy Ridley. And by the way, shout out that entire cast, because we really should have had really great stuff, because that is a phenomenal group of actors.
I mean, yeah.
Really, and I hope that Daisy Ridley gets another chance at a genre trilogy where she gets to body it. I really do.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what? I'm campaigning for Daisy Ridley as the new Jean Grey in the Marvel X-Men movies.
Oh, here we go. Look at that.
Give it to me hardcore, baby.
Let's start an online petition.
Inject it into my veins, cuz. Up next, small one. The Boys is back, John. We love this series. You're the one who I believe even told me to watch it in the first place in season 1. Excellent show. Season 2 took a while to get here, but it's back.
And it's...
Did you watch this week's episode?
No.
Whew.
But...
Yo,
I'm probably going to watch after this, actually.
Yo, it's dark. It's dark.
But good?
Yeah, good, but like, there's a couple of moments.
Ooh, I like that.
But like, who? Like, I can't believe what I'm watching.
Well, yo, this is like what needs to be done with some superheroes, right? Like, we have these ideas of like, well, if superheroes were really alive, it wouldn't be pretty necessarily. Like, and that's what you get to see in this show, and I think that's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, for sure. But what's really interesting about The Boys season 2 is the way they're releasing it. So, week 1, we get 3 episodes, the first 3 of an 8-part season, I believe. And that's it. Following this, starting this week, 1 episode a week. This is something that I've been advocating for years, since streaming started being a thing. But we saw, John, quite a few people are pretty upset, and according to our friends, the show is getting review bombed by people, just being upset that they're not getting the entire season right away, so they're kind of canning it. And John, I just want to get your quick fire thoughts on the release schedule and people being big whiner babies.
I was on your... I mean, we share the same mindset on this, of this is what we wanted, was that event television to be back, right? So like, think back to when Game of Thrones, before it sucked, people would literally go to bars and go watch it. Like, it was an event when the new episode came out, and
it was like a game, like a sports game.
We were saying the fact that like, now that things are going to streaming and they basically release all at once, that event isn't there anymore. For instance, I mean, even with things that blow up, like the Tiger King docuseries, right? It it didn't, like, people caught it at different times, right? So it wasn't the same effect as if everyone watched each episode. Like, maybe like if they'd felt the same thing where they released 3 episodes and then they released an episode each week, it would have been like, oh my god, the new one's out, and then everyone, like, the internet blows up that day. And I think that's what this could become again. I'm not saying necessarily this show, but if people keep following this. But the problem is these sweaty neckbeards not giving it a chance, man. And it's sad. Oh, I want my content. Stop being a baby, dude. Like, what? It's such a good show too. Like, I wonder if like, are they watching it and then they're just like mad that they don't have more, like, or are they just giving up? I don't know. But it's disgusting because the show is so good, and this idea of now, like, I don't know if you're gonna put out episodic reviews, or not.
Yeah, that's the plan.
There's the option, right? Yeah. There's an option of putting out episodic reviews. I think that's the word I'm trying to use here. Episodic. But like, then it's also the thing of like, I know I'll watch it today, so then Monday, like tomorrow, we'll be able to talk about it just in our free time, but we know that we're both there, right? And then it's not like we're trying to talk about the whole show, so then maybe we forget a couple things. No, we'll just be able to talk about it and be like, wow, this episode, what did you think? Next week, we'll be all hyped. This episode, what do you think? And it extends that hype, right? It's like, if you're doing drugs, man, right? You don't want it to just come in one rush and then go. You want it to last, man.
Don't do drugs, kids. But yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, it's really unfortunate. I mean, we had you and I did reviews of the Last Dance, the documentary documenting the final season of Michael Jordan's run with the Chicago Bulls. That was event television. Yeah. Sunday night, everyone was talking about it. Monday morning,
Twitter was blowing up about it. I mean, the videos got amazing views,
wild views. Yeah.
So like, I mean, that was one of the. Yeah, like it tends to making more excitement for that product. So the fact, like, I hope this doesn't discourage brands from like doing them weekly. This. But now, like, how do you feel about the Friday release? I think that's a weird day to choose.
Yeah, I would. There's a reason that Thursday nights are primetime television slots. It's the end of the week. People are gearing towards the weekend, starting to loosen up on routine. Friday is kind of a difficult one. Like, I don't watch them until Sunday.
That's the thing. I also like the Sunday release, like, cause that, like, the Last Dance was Sundays. I remember Game of Thrones was Sundays. I like that Sunday release because it's like, you know what, Monday's coming tomorrow. Let me forget about the Sunday scaries and let me drown myself out in a show.
Now here's the difference though. Sunday nights during the fall belong to football.
Yeah, in America. Who said it has to be Sunday nights that it has to release? Maybe release it earlier in the day so you have all day Sunday to watch it.
No, I know. It's just that, like, games start at like 1, I think. And I can see why executives would be like, Americans are our main audience. Maybe we'll go. Because there's no, is there football on Fridays? No, right?
No.
Yeah, so
high school.
Yikes.
Well, so, if you live in like Texas, that's a big thing.
That's true. Yeah. My bad, Texans. I didn't mean to poop on your.
You better apologize. That's a state you don't want to mess with.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't. I do not want that smoke. But yeah, John. So those were my topics for the week. Just the one that actually both kind of disappointing, to be honest, especially with the reception of the one. But hopeful for good things for both stories in the future. John, what'd you bring for the podcast this week?
Well, Kyle, there's a disgusting amount of news in the gaming world coming out, so it was hard to actually narrow it down to what we could actually have a good conversation about. But one of it, which is the Xbox, like, just surprising everybody and saying we're releasing our console, the Xbox, what's it called, Gen X or Series X, I think it is, the Xbox Series X, and that's their main console. Top of the line specs, next gen, cool. But then it just came out without anybody like knowing about it that they were going to release a Series S, which is like if we talk about phones, we have the iPhone, and then we have the iPhone Lite or whatever, whatever it's called.
There's like the iPhone S.
S, yeah, dude, same letter. iPhone S. But what it is just kind of a slimmed down, literally, and hardware wise, slimmed down version of the actual console. So it's not going to be as great as the actual console, but it still comes with a lot of next gen stuff. One of which is ray tracing, which makes games run faster and graphics smoother. And it still will have an SSD, which that's the main thing I'm excited for with this next gen, for people to realize how quick it's going to feel just loading into a game, starting it up. Like, it went from you start up a PlayStation and it would be like PlayStation, or Xbox would be like, and now it's just like it goes and then it takes a second, it shows you like the warnings, whatever, and it's like pick your thing, and then everything slowly comes in and you get to your home screen, right? And then you load a game, and that's not really quick. This SSD is just going to be like whoop, and turns it on. Everything's just so quick, right? Loading will be quick. Now, I mean, unless they start pushing games to where a lot more needs to load, then it could get back to where it was. But right away, it's going to be just quick. But the other huge thing is it's going to be $299 for the Series S. Which, Kyle, how do you feel about that price point of $299?
I love that price point, to be honest with you. I mean, let me look up real quick what the price of a Nintendo Switch is. I believe it is in the same neighborhood, if I'm not mistaken. One moment. I also wonder if these are still sold out everywhere like they were at the beginning. Yeah, $299.
They did say they were going to ramp up production, and there's also been a bunch of rumors on the internet that they're releasing a new Switch.
Oh, that'd be disappointing, especially since I bought mine late last year. So here is the thing, John. Next gen consoles coming out. I have told you, we're PlayStation guys, and that's where we're kind of relating this back to a little bit. At least for me, that's where I'm anchoring it. I am not buying the PlayStation 5 right away.
Well, Kyle, hold your horses. Don't you say that just yet, Kyle. I've thought about this, and here's my sales pitch.
Oh, God.
This weekend, there was supposed to be a PlayStation event, and it all of a sudden got delayed until Wednesday at 1 p.m. And there's rumors that they're just freaking out because the Xbox released that they're going to have a console for $299, and PlayStation might be trying to lower their prices. Now, Kyle,
that's a big thing.
If the discless PlayStation, right, without the disc reader, I don't know if that's the one you're going for, but if that one is $299, will that make you consider buying it sooner?
Yes, absolutely.
$299, dude.
$299.
That's crazy.
You cannot beat that.
$299, bro. Like, man, that's wild. They just announced. So if you're a computer person, if you're watching this and you if you build computers, they're releasing a graphics card, Kyle. Just the graphics card. All it does is render your graphics for your computer for $1,500.
Jeez, that's wild.
And yet, a PlayStation could be $299.
That's
possibly, right?
Yeah. Well, let's keep it that way. Possibly.
Now, given that graphics card is being used by people who literally make the movies we were just talking about, so that's what that graphics card is meant for. It's not meant for necessarily just playing video games. This is it's gonna be the highest level, or one of the highest levels of graphics cards available. Yeah. Exactly. So there's that. But I mean, still, isn't it crazy the levels of this game?
Yeah, no, I mean, look,
$299, dude.
How much was the PlayStation 4 originally?
I don't know. Let's figure that out.
I feel like that was $400. I think.
PS4 original price. PS4 $400, $399. Back in 2014.
And I bought that a year later, I believe.
Bro. Right now, I'm getting an ad for GameStop for a PS4 Black, 500 gigabytes, refurbished for $279.
Wow,
that's wild. The Xbox is good. The new gen Xbox is gonna be $20 more for the simpler new gen X. That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So like if the PS5 discless is $300, I'll at least could try to get one this year or as like ASAP, because you really you can't beat it. It's just that's too good of a deal, to be honest. I'm shocked. Uh, I'm I'm happy that Xbox did that, because then it puts the pressure on PlayStation and Sony to be like, hey, let's be more fair to our customers, because $500 is a lot of money. That's half a grand. And to me, if it's not something that like I need, like we will likely be able to still communicate with each other at the very least through, like if we're playing Fortnite,
Yeah.
at least through Fortnite party chat.
No, but I think we'll still be fine with the PlayStation chat. I mean, it doesn't really matter for me because I play on a computer anyway. So
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like now, if I couldn't play Fortnite with you guys at all, then that'd be different.
yeah,
But because we can like very likely play with each other, that's the thing. Now, if you entice me, Sony, with a $300 PlayStation,
now
that's different.
here's the big thing, right? That I've read. When the PS4 came out, Sony said they were losing money on each console, right? So they
Interesting.
said they were selling it for cheaper than what they wanted to. Like they lose money because of the fact that it's not about you buying the console for them to make money. It's about them licensing out the games for their like right. So then they get money for each game sold because the PlayStation game. They get money for the stuff that you're buying off their like the controllers and all this. They get money for everything else, right? So with that said, does it really matter now? Like in the grand scheme of things, they might sell more PlayStations if they make it cheaper. They might lose more money, but they might sell more. It's a gamble. And right now, if they want to compete with the Xbox, do you think they're willing to take that actual gamble? Because like it's rumored and people are just talking that it's gonna actually. The reason they delayed this announcement was for the price drop. Who knows if they're actually going to? It might be other things. But do you think that's a gamble that would be worth it for them to take? Of losing more money per console, but possibly selling a lot more consoles. Especially now, think about what's going on in the world with the
That's what I was about to
coronavirus
say.
and maybe having less production is even worth it at that point then.
Well, I also think they're going to have less sales regardless, though, because of that. There's not an abundance of cash going around. People are jobless. We are in a global pandemic. The fact that these releases haven't been delayed is shocking to me. So, if you're going that route, in my opinion, go all the way, make it cheaper, entice people to, because like at this moment, if it's $500, even going into next year, I'm waiting till fall winter 2021 to buy it, because it's
That's
like,
the
well, what am
that's
I
the
what am I
thing.
in the
That's
rush for?
almost double of what we would want. Like that's
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly.
Now, unless they're also announcing um a like trimmed down version of the PlayStation, which I doubt they're just like all of a sudden pulling that out and like, hey, we got one too. And I'm not just saying no disc reader. I'm saying like some less tech. Um, I would actually even probably get that, which is
Yeah,
wild, because most of the games I'm gonna play on my PC anyway, so it really doesn't matter. I would just basically be using it for PlayStation exclusives, and to communicate. Like,
exactly.
and with that said, like, does it really matter? No. So I mean, it's very interesting that Xbox like pulled this and that they're so far like, hey, we have a $300 console. Do you? And I feel like Sony needs to come back with something like that in order to be seen and not just get completely blown out of the water, because when parents look at these consoles and if they do a little bit of research, which I mean, if you're looking at money, do the research and realize that this Xbox Series X, yes, I know little Johnny says he wants a PlayStation, but he plays Fortnite and you could play Fortnite with whoever on whatever. So I'm gonna get him the Xbox Series S, and he'll live with it. And I'm saving $200 Little Johnny is getting an Xbox Series S. So I think they need to compete. I think you're right, and like especially with everything that's going on, people don't have that money to spend necessarily. So you just eat it and you take that hit.
Yeah, look, Sony, just hold the L, do what you got to do. Do the right thing, actually. Do the right thing, Sony. And those are my thoughts on this. Hopefully, we get the $300 PlayStation.
Yep, that'd be cool. But last thing I got going on here is I mean, it's been so wild just since we both come into this gaming world more, and actually started noticing streaming popped off, right? And just be like, hey, well, Fortnite's really just conquered that. And then eventually it was like, oh, Call of Duty got a new game, and that kind of blew up a little bit, right? And then last month we were like, Fall Guys is the new god, and it is destroying everyone. And I actually had a topic prepared that I had to scrap because there's a new game that came out of nowhere. There was no hype for this game. It just seemed like it blew up overnight, and it is dominating like streaming views right now, and it's super entertaining to watch, and it's called Among Us. Now, just as a brief overview of what the game is there's different scenarios, and you and a bunch of people. So I think the game you could play up to 8 people in a game. You're on a ship or in a lab or something, and you have to either launch the ship or secure the lab. There's different like tasks you got to do, right? And you could set the number of what they call imposters, and the imposter's job is to kill the people without getting caught. But everyone else's job is to complete the tasks. Now, how it works is you all start. No one knows who's who or who's the imposters. And as you're walking around doing your tasks, you're not allowed to talk. That is the most important part. You're not allowed to talk to anyone. Now, most people use Discord where they could communicate during it. But I'm assuming the game has a built-in voice chat feature, which it would just literally not let you talk. So you're not allowed to talk, and you go in and you do the tasks, and the imposters have to pretend like they're doing tasks so they don't necessarily get caught and make it obvious that they're the imposter. And then they also have to seize the moment and kill people while no one else is around to actually see them do it, so they don't know they're an imposter. If they kill someone and then people find the body, they report it, and you go to a voting screen. And you have to say, I found this body, it was here, and you have to convince that someone is an imposter, and you have to vote. You have to vote people off, right? And the goal is to vote off the imposters before the imposter kills everybody else. And now I realized one reason why this game is so exciting and why people love to watch it. Because it's just one big debate. And it's one big argument, right? So it's just you having to basically convince people, if you are the imposter, for your life that you are not. And then even if you're not the imposter, you have to convince people you're not the imposter. Because it could be seen like that you're the imposter. And there's still tricks that people are learning to do now in like persuasion. It's a big mental game. Like, and I think that's why people are finding this game so fun. And now we haven't played it yet. And I really want to with our squad. I want to get a big group together and I want to play this game because I know it's going to be, we will have a lot of fun if everybody actually puts their full soul into it and like goes in like, hey, no, I want to play. Mm-hmm. It's going to be so much fun. But Kyle, I don't know if you've seen any of the gameplay yet.
I haven't seen the gameplay yet, like videos. I've seen pictures and images.
Mm-hmm. So it's a super simple game. Another thing appealing about the game is it's free.
So it's free. I thought it was like $5.
On Steam, it's $5. I don't know if it's on PlayStation and Xbox yet, to be honest. So what would have to happen is a lot of people have to, on Android and iPhone, it's free, but on Steam it's $5. But even $5, what? I mean, it's like, oh, that's a coffee, right? Like, even if I play it one time, it's worth it. So I think that's another reason why the game's so appealing and it's blowing up. But it's so interesting because you're starting to see, if you do watch it, right, you're starting to see people come up with these tricks and using these like mind fucks for lack of a better term. So for instance, I watched one streamer where there was 3 people, 2 people not the imposter and one the imposter, right? And what you could do is the imposter killed one person and immediately the imposter reported the body. And then when you report the body, next to your name comes a little speaker saying like, oh, you report the body. And that person immediately yells out, so and so did it, I just saw him. The other person that was there to set them up. So like now you could set people up. There's like trickery and like it's actually pretty strategic. So it seems like a lot of fun and I want to check it out, but I'm just amazed that it took over so much. I want to get your opinion on that. Like from the way I described the game and what I've said, why do you think this game has like taken over the viewership so much? Out of nowhere.
For me, it seems like the biggest one might be the price point. It being free or $5 is pretty big. I mean, a lot of the things that have blown up over the past couple years, rather, have been these free games where it's like, oh, I'll give it a try, whatever, sure, boom, oh, it's fun. I can get in things that like you can get a lot of people playing. Ding, ding, ding. Fall Guys became free, blew up instantly, and there's like a level of difficulty but not like a really big skill gap necessarily to the game
because it's kind of luck. It's kind of
I mean sometimes your guy just falls and that's it. But like with this game, it because it's just like a communication based game after the body's found and you can try and trick your friends and stuff, that just it reminds me of a game night. And by game night, I mean like a board game night you play with your family or your friends.
That's the thing, and that's why it makes me so excited. I mean, for people who might not know the game, but we play Catan a lot, Settlers of Catan, and that game gets pretty heated sometimes for the fact that I'm always getting screwed over, and Kyle's Mr. Schmoozer over here, even though he denies it. But Kyle has a way with words. Like Kyle, I think you'd be amazing at this game.
I'd like to give it a try.
For the fact that you are just so you're good at talking. Obviously you do podcasts, you do all these things, right? So you're good at talking and convincing people of things, and you're so just calm, cool, and collected that you're just like, even if people were coming at you, you'd be like, but nah man, like but listen to me, and you'd be able to like explain your way out of a situation. That I think you could be an imposter probably 3 games in a row and just run the board of killing everyone and just like nah, like it was. But how do you know I was over there? And then you'd have people guessing. Like that's the fun of it. And I think our friend group dynamic would be a lot of fun to play with.
Especially some of the rage that would come if someone got voted. No. I'm talking about the brothers. a lot of profanity.
But yeah, man, I think this free game kind of like mentality that is coming out, I think it's really making or breaking games, or having at least some free option to the game. Is really just blowing games up, which I think is really cool. So, it's exciting to see.
I think it's good for the consumers of the gaming landscape that these free games are blowing up, because I mean, it's kind of showing that people are voting with their would-be dollars in terms of like saying, hey, you put out a free game, I'm going to give it a try. Mm-hmm. Now, you had mentioned this before with like 2K and or like Madden and stuff like that, how they should put out either like a free version and then you just pay to play or whatever, like oh, you pay for online, or maybe you do the same VC system where you have to pay to, like, if you want to progress really quickly, put your money in, boom, whatever, or cosmetics, stuff like that.
Think about it, like with those types of games, wouldn't you think it would be smart to do almost like, you know, like they have season passes and they have seasons for things, right? So do a season, like maybe even if you say every quarter of a year, right? So every 3 months, 4 months, 3 months, whatever you want to choose, you say, we're going to reset servers, right? So you build up a character, right? Let's say you build up a basketball player, and then you reset. And then maybe at that time they switch up the perks you could have them. I don't know what they exactly are called, but like I know you could change like your
they're called badges in 2K.
So your badges, right? So you switch up badges that are out. So then it switches up the type of gameplay you have to use, maybe the way you have to build your character, and then you get to build the meta. Yeah. So then you change the meta, and then you get to build a character again. So then even people who want to come into the game, they know like, hey, once I wait for the wipe to come, I could start over and start fresh with everyone else. and then you go in and you play again and you have a fresh start. I think that would make it so much more relevant. And then maybe have DLCs where it's a story mode, right? Or I don't know, but like, or do something like Fortnite where you have Save the World, but you buy it once and then they just update it constantly, right? Where Fortnite's still making a bunch of money because people are buying the V-Bucks. People in 2K would buy the VC every wipe, right? They'd spend a lot of money, and that's multiple times a year. Like, that's not just one game a year where people are buying it and then done. And then maybe, yeah, they buy VC, but so when you buy 2K, right? And you buy VC, how many times do you remake a character for that 2K game?
Previous versions of myself would do it a couple times. I mean, I might have like 4 or 5.
And
characters.
would you buy VC every time?
No, I personally wouldn't. But I know people that do.
So do you think? But you said 4 or 5 times. Like, let's say that everyone was 5 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you could do that within a year, have 5 wipes, and then people would probably buy VC every single wipe, and then you do a battle pass where you can maybe new shoes that come out, new graphics. I don't know, new tattoos, new hairstyles.
Yeah.
Like, I could see that becoming a thing, but they would need a transition and they would actually need to see the profit in it. But I think this free landscape is really changing the way we're looking at gaming and what's making things pop and blow up, like you said, because Among Us is a very simple game. It's a 2D, like up, down, left, right walking game, but it's destroying numbers on Twitch, and which means that people are going to be buying the game on Steam. And it's a $5 game. It's probably an indie company that probably didn't even think they were going to blow up, and this game blew up. So hopefully bigger companies are seeing this and they could adapt it in some sort so we get more games. But that's basically it, Kyle. I'm kind of tired after that Star Wars conversation, though, to be honest. I feel like I spent a lot of energy. And emotionally, like the emotional roller coaster, because like I was like sad, and now I'm kind of hyped again. Like, I'm like, you know what? There's hope. A new hope.
There is a new hope. You know what? I think we got to leave it at that bar. I couldn't have done that any better myself. I feel like I have to make a second cup of coffee for myself already, even though I had one while we were potting. John, where can people find you?
As always, twitch.tv/Ginger Gorilla Gaming, Instagram Ginger Gorilla Gaming, Twitter Ginger Gorilla Gaming, or Ginger Gorilla. Just search me. Look for that logo. You know what it looks like by now if you actually watch this every week. If you're new, it's on my YouTube down there. And the links are always right below us, right? So we have our links for mine and Kyle. Kyle, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Buff Charmander. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Geeks Weekly. That is 2 words. A lot of cool stuff coming out. You can find me on John's streams at twitch.tv/Ginger Gorilla Gaming, where I'm basically there like almost every stream, unless there's like a lot of video stuff going on my end. And yeah, make sure you tweet us with any of your thoughts on this type of stuff, or you can slide into the DMs, but it's a little personal.
But comments, man, on the YouTube page or anything, we'll be checking them out.
5 stars ratings if you're listening to this on Apple. That really helps out with the outreach of the pods.
Yes.
Leaving comments on that as well. Just let us know your thoughts, and we would love to interact with you even via the pod. Like, if you drop us a comment or whatever, if it's an interesting thought, we'll read it out loud during the podcast.
Also, guys, just a little bit of a teaser. Double Shot Love Season 2 is almost over, and Kyra and I are going to be doing a reality review on it. So, I mean, I know maybe some of you listening are more sweaty stuff with video games and movies and don't get into that. But if you do love reality TV, watch Season 1 of Double Shot. Watch Season 2. It's even, I would say, even better.
It is, in my opinion.
And I'm going to be so excited for that podcast. That might be another, like, that might be a long one, because like there's a lot to break down for this season. I might have to go through and take notes of just like remembering what happened in each episode. But I'm excited for that. So be on the lookout for that if you're excited for it. And yeah, that's all, everybody. Peace out.
See you next time.